So many of the kids that come to All Children's Hospital are dealing with life-threatening chronic illnesses that they deal with day in and day out, very different than a typical childhood. And Beads of Courage is a way for them to capture that story and to tell their story and to build their legacy. For the parents, it's, you know, that kind of that depth and that wise soul of, wow, look what my child's gone through. To children, it's a sense of pride. It's like a banner. Look at what I've done. And they can really display to their peers, to their family, to the employees here at the hospital, you know, look at how many IV pokes I had, look at how many blood tests I had, and look what I did when I wasn't in the hospital. I did this in clinic. I was there every, you know, this many days, and look what I had to have done. And it's kind of there like, look how brave I am, look how much courage I have.
My baby was 5 days old. They diagnosed her with a heart condition called trilogy of flow. I heard about this program from a child life specialist, and I thought it was a great idea because it does explain her journey and what she's been through. She's been through more than I've been through in my 23 years.
It's a great way for families to be able to tell the story for the child on all the different experiences that they've had and document everything so that one day they can show their little baby when they're grown up, like, look what you've gone through. Look how brave you've been, how courageous, and how much your experience has changed and what you've done.
One of the things that I love most about Beads of Courage is that it really does help to form a therapeutic bond between multiple caregivers in the hospital and the patients and families. So for a patient who, say a nurse has to come in and do a blood draw or access their port, things like that, that can be something that nurses don't enjoy doing. They don't enjoy having to poke patients or having to administer painful procedures, things like that. But with Beads of Courage, it's really awesome because the nurses and other caregivers are the ones that are actually giving the patients the beads, typically right after that medical event or the thing that the child's earned the bead for. So where a nurse has to access a port, let's say, then she can follow up right after that and give the patient a black bead, which represents a poke, and say, I'm really sorry that I had to poke you. I know that wasn't fun, but I'm so proud of you. You were so brave. Here's a bead for that. Good job. And so it becomes, kind of just a bond between the nurses and the patients. And I love to see our nurses come into kids' rooms and, their beads will be hanging on their IV pole, and they come up and they say, wow, you've gotten hundreds of beads, or I see you've added, 10 new beads since the last time I was here. Or, wow, I see you got an Act of Courage bead. Tell me, what did you get that for? So it's really cool. It creates a dialogue between the staff and patients, and it's a great storyteller. Scott Hosfeld was the first patient that we got to enroll, and he has had the longest hospitalization of his life. He has cystic fibrosis, but Scott, for the past 7 weeks, he's gotten over 815 beads or something crazy like that. And so we got to do the same thing and hold his beads at the doorway and bring them all the way down the hall of the intensive care unit. And you could just see the nurses, looking around like, what's going on? And oh my goodness, I can't believe you have so many beads. And same thing, he was just so proud of them.
I think it has helped him a lot in doing all his treatments and the pokes he gets. It's gave him a little bit of something to look forward to for all this pain and suffering he has to go through while he's here. And it makes me see him smile.
6 purples.
Yep, so 6 purples, that's for 6 different antibiotics. 1,
2,
3, 4, 5,
6.
Perfect.
Okay, what's next?
Get 3 lime beads, that's for isolation for Saturday.
1, 2, 3.
So these are for all your insulin injections that you have to do every night.
How many do you have to have?
13, 14, that's for 14 pokes. That's a lot of pokes.
How many pinks? 30.
A lot of pink.
30 pinks.
21 pink.
Holy. 11, 12, 13, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100.
800!
No. Where we at, Mom? Anna 14? That spells my name. I get something for what I do and what I go through.
We knew about the program and we started learning more about it, asking some questions, and realized that it was a fairly large financial undertaking, and knew that we would have to gain philanthropic support for it. So we wrote a proposal to the Northeast Exchange Club and shared the story of how Beads of Courage can make a difference in the kids' lives here. And they embraced it, and they funded the whole startup, which was near $20,000. And then knowing that to keep the program going, we're going to need additional funding, not only has our foundation continued to find funding sources, but the Sayer family has picked up an additional year worth of funding. So we're good for 2 years. The beads are finite, but the procedures and the kids are not.
Well, I started coming to the hospital because I had a heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and I started my bead like 8 years ago. I thought it was really cool so I could like see everything I like went through, because sometimes you just think it's one blood draw, but it turns into 100 some.
Obviously they're in here and they're focused on their health, but this distracts them. Yeah. They can now focus on this. When they see the child life representative come or the nurse come with a fistful of beads, they get excited.
We asked when we came to the hospital many years ago if they'd had the program, and we were disappointed to find that they didn't do it. So we're excited now.
To focus on their illness in oh, look at what I have to go through every day, can be very depressing, can bring children down. It can add a layer of anxiety and stress to their life. This is a way to reframe it and to take that stress and anxiety and to make it a banner and to turn it into a positive, giving them credit in a way to cheerlead for themselves for everything they've been through.